So now you're working with WordPress, and I'm going to show you the back end of WordPress so you understand the dashboard. Most likely your site's going to be looking very similar to this when you are just starting out. And so we're going to go through a lot of the key elements here. Now, ignore the Bluehost. This is a special plugin through Bluehost. If you're not using it, you will most likely not have this. But the key places, what you'll see here is the dashboard. The dashboard's nice because you can actually add certain things here. There's this little pop down that gives you screen options. You can get the health status. You don't need certain things for this. And I like to keep it very simple. Some plugins, when you add them, they'll give you more information here. And so then you can actually see all this information there. Okay, let's now look at the second thing. This is the updates. If there's any updates, this will tell you when you have anything that needs to be updated. Usually there's an alert that will show up here. You'll be able to update it that way. The next place is posts. We'll get back to this a little bit later. That's for a separate video, but this is essentially where you have your posts. This is where you can actually access the ones that you want to edit. There's going to be a categories page. This is where you can add your categories. So let's say I'm going to add musings, just something very simple. Musings here. The slug is always going to be like this. If it was more than one word, I'd have to add some things like this, where there's a little hyphen. But in this case, I'm just going to keep it simple. And then again, you can choose a parent category if you have one. If this is like a child category, or you can just keep it top level. You can now see I'm going to add a new category. There it is. You can now edit things here. For example, adding a description. This is good sometimes for SEO, but you don't really need to see it. Some themes actually show this, some of them don't. So you can decide on what you want to do with that. Tags are what help you figure out, what help site visitors go from topic to topic. It also helps the related posts feature find the related content. We're going to get back to this in a little while later, but that's essentially where that is. Let's look now at media. This is the media library. This is where you add all the images. Adding images is easy as dropping them in here or adding a file right here. You can add only certain types of files, but you can also add images, audio, video, documents. For example, if you have a PDF, you can add it here as well. Okay, and so you can see here, this is essentially what you see when you pop something up. This is a great place to add alternative text, which I really recommend that you do. And here are other key other things that you can add. This is your URL for that image. When you add any kind of images to WordPress, they get uploaded to your server, and this is where the address is for this specific file. Now let's keep going here. Pages we'll get back to later on when we talk about posts. And then there's comments. Here you can actually review all of your comments that somebody has posted. This is a great place where if you're moderating, you can actually come in here and you can manage that. Appearance. This is where you get to choose which theme. You can actually customize the theme, and I've got just one of the Cadence ones, the free ones here, so you can actually see that. And you could now modify certain things. This will look very different depending on which theme you're using. And here you'll find widgets. This is mostly for, let's say, the footer, sidebar. Sometimes widgets are in different spots. And then you can actually look at all of the widgets that are showing up on the sidebar here. You can add them whichever way you want. And then there's menus. Again, this is going to be very important for your navigation. This is a separate video that I'll have to show you later on when there's a little bit more information that you can actually work with. But essentially what you do here is there's usually a primary one. And what you can do here in terms of pages is you can add which ones you want. Let's say we add all of these. And what's really nice is that these are all movable. So you can change the way you want it to appear, and then save it, and then you'll have the menu saved. And these are just because of my cadence. Theme file editor, I would not touch this section. This is the actual theme file that you can edit and try to avoid touching. Otherwise, you might have a broken theme. Plugins this is where you actually find the different plugins that you are adding. There are tons of plugins that are free that you'll find here. Some of them are premium ones. You can actually also upload your own plugin that's, for example, that you've purchased somewhere. And what you do here with all of these installed plugins is that you can activate them, deactivate them. You can actually sometimes get into settings, but you can also, what you can do is when there's an update, just you can update them all. I would recommend not doing the auto updates because sometimes themes will break, and you'll want to check after you update each theme to see each plugin to see if it has broken something or not. Users, this is where you are. For example, there I am. You can actually add users as well and put different levels of roles for them. For example, I'm an administrator. I also have editing roles. You can add things like contributors so they can only see a certain portion of it. And what's nice is you can then create, when you are adding them, you can actually create all the information here and so on and so forth. Tools, depending, this is for importing content, exporting it when you want to move all of your content from this site to some other site. This, again, very rarely is it used, but this is where things get interesting. So your site title here, your tagline you can add. This I would not touch because if you touch one of these, you might actually cause problems with your site not working and having problems accessing it. You see here, new user default role. You can add it as a subscriber, and then you can change the date format at how it looks like when you have something posted, and pretty much leave all of this as it is. Writing, this is going to be your default post category. So if you forget to add a category, at least this will show up in a certain category. So maybe you have a standard one. You may have, for example, the default post format. I would just leave it at standard. That's going to be the main one that you guys have. Then there's reading. You will want to have a static page if, for example, you are not if your theme does not have a blog role that appears. If you do, then you'll want to have it at your latest post. This one works well if you're working with a page builder. Discussion, pretty straightforward. The only thing here I would ask that you do is to hold a comment for moderation. Email me. You can do this, but you don't really need to. Just a comment is held for moderation, and that way you can actually review something before it's posted. Media, you can again set your image size. This is pretty standard. I would not change this. And my final tip is under permalinks. You will need to make sure, and of course it's not doing it fast enough. Pausing for a moment. So now when you're in permalinks settings, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's going to be in this kind of format. This is a short and sweet URL. This is what you want. It's good for SEO. So if it's something else, do not have it in this kind of format, particularly anything to do with dates or any kind of custom structure with categories. You just want to keep it in a simple post name. And that is it when it comes to understanding the dashboard for WordPress. If you have any more questions, just drop me a line.